Good evening, Internet. Last time I asked you to vote on my poll what type of content that you wanted me to create, and you have. And I am super excited to have all this interaction. So 56% of you voted for commentaries like this video, 22% voted for analytical tutorials, as well as a history of type videos. So maybe a history of Call of Duty Zombies, for example, and none of you voted for Let's Plays. So I think that that's out. Also, before this video begins, something I do want to mention is that I disassociated this channel with my network, FULLSCREEN.net, and there's a bunch of reasons why I did that, but I am still a part of their product placement kind of program. So if there's ever some random games that I am playing, keep in mind that I will be endorsed to play those games. Now, I will post this in the description, but I kind of wanted to just throw that out there. Now that we have all of that taken care of, let's jump into today's topic. So for my first topic, my first video of this, series that I wanted to talk about, I wanted to go all in. I wanted to do what I thought would be the hardest topic. And one of the things that was on my notes was how video games can make someone happy. So I am going to explain that to you. Realistically, when it comes down to it, there's two ways of being happy. The first is showing pleasure, and the second is contentment. And I think that they're two very different things, and I think that it's important to learn what both of them mean. To be happy or showing pleasure is that feeling that you get when you come home at the end of the day, and the first feeling that you get when you open your home door. Or if you don't have a home, let's say you're having a hard week and something just kind of makes your day, that feeling of itself is what happiness is. But see, that's not what a lot of people search for. What people are searching for is contentment. And that means that generally, overall, everything considered, you're fine, you're good, you're not wanting. You might be needing, but you're not necessarily wanting things in life. Something that scientists have asked all the time is that if video games are inherently good for the brain, and it turns out that they actually could be. There's a study done by Alan Rice and his co-workers at Stanford University. Basically, they put a video game in front of 11 male students and 11 female students. The point of the game was very simple. There was a line down the middle of the screen, and there was balls coming from the left and from the right, and you had to click the balls. If they touched the divider in the middle, whichever side they were coming from, it moved over, so you had a little bit less screen real estate there. The main thing to take away from this is that in most scientific experiments, in every single case, it's very rare for every participant to experience whatever the result is. And sure, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, that's not very interesting. Of course they're going to be stimulated, they're playing a video game. But what is interesting is that in every single person, the pleasure in the forebrain circuit was released. It released endorphins into the brain. Where they found that this originated from was in the orbitofrontal cortex, which is the very same place as when someone gets high off of drugs, where it gets released. Now, what's also interesting is that this study showed that this happened much more often and a lot more severe in men rather than women. The other unique thing to this study is that video gameplay is an unnatural behavior. And while most things that trigger endorphins to be released is a natural thing, it is completely unnatural to play video games. And this right here is the very reason why when you go back and play video games that you are so nostalgic about, and you remember that they were the best games in the world, that they just feel aged and they don't quite live up to what your expectations were. And this can easily be described as the dopamine in your brain, making you think that, well, it was a better experience than it really was. I'm not going to be that guy that sits here and tells you that video games is a great escape from reality, how it makes you forget about everything in the real world just for a few minutes out of the day, because frankly, I don't think that's true. What I think that most people experience is taking a character's identity and kind of blending it with their own. They're almost like experiencing those experiences for themselves and placing part of the character as themselves. I realize that it may seem a bit irrational to say something like this, but you can see it quite often when people say that video game characters ultimately fail as narratives when they're not relatable enough. And this brings me to the point that I am trying to make with this segment, in that when people experience these experiences that are extraordinary in extraordinary circumstances, they're overall improving their life. One way or another, they have those memories, and while it may be in an augmented reality, that doesn't mean that it's any less truthful. So I know that we talked about a lot of different things in this video, but to kind of recap what it is, will video games make you happy? Yes. The answer, yes. Will it make you happy in terms of being joyful and blissful? Yes, I think so, yes. And there's plenty of scientific facts to back that up. But will it make you content with life? Probably not. It might teach you what it is that you really want to experience for yourself. But ultimately, above that, I think the best thing that we can learn from video games is to not play video games. Thank you so much to everyone who has voted in my poll. If that was the first video of mine that you've watched, welcome. If not, welcome back. And until next time, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay sexy.
So old and fine.